And now, Giant Sports Talk Live. Here are your hosts, Eric and Glenn.
We're talking Giants every day. From McCovey Cove to the Oracle Park lights, Eric and Glenn keep the fire burning bright, fighting for the glory, no matter what it costs us, breaking down the moments from the wins to the losses. Giant Sports Talk, we're here for the ride. Eric and Glenn with the fan base pride, talking dreams, will they contend? But we'll back the Giants till the very end. Let's go, Giants! Yes, yes, yes! Oh! Eric and Glenn breaking it down, all Giants all the time.
All right, welcome to Giant Sports Talk Live here Monday night. Glenn, Lou, the gang is here. We're going to talk about some Giants baseball. I already see it. I've seen it all day ever since the Baggarly report came out. It's all over Twitterdom. The fan base is going absolutely bonkers over this report. But the sky is not falling, guys. It's not a freaking big deal. Before we get into it, what's up, Glenn? How was your weekend?
Not too bad, Eric. We're coming off the back of your Thanksgiving. I hope, Lou, Eric, you had a long weekend of family, frolicking, and good food. Eric couldn't keep you away from the bowl all weekend, man. You were all turkey and stuffing, and I'm getting ready for the holiday season now. I'll be putting on the Santa suit soon. You never know what kind of gimmicks we bring to the show in December. Maybe even Charlotte will come in and sing a tune or two. You never know. Whistling Dixie probably, but moves today. I see the Mets picked up a pitcher. They're still interested in another one. But as far as the Giants go, is the spending over, Eric? And it hasn't even begun?
I know, it hasn't even started yet. And everyone's like, this is the cheapest organization. And look, there could be some truth. We don't know yet. Let's see how this plays out.
I wouldn't say that, Eric. What did I say to you before in the green room? Half of our best conversations, half of them are in the green room. Nobody can hear us.
Yeah, I know. I was like, let's save it for the show.
The guys are already in the chat and saying we're poor and we're cheap and we're this and we're that and the ownership. But, Eric, I mean, let's call a spade a spade. This organization, they overspent in 2025. When we into 24, they got Adames at big money, and then they picked up that big salary for Devers. So it's not like they haven't gone out and shelled out coin, man. They have spent some serious money, but now I think people are getting a taste of, look at all these guys, and Adames, got Chapman for more. So all of a sudden, guys are out there thinking we're going to get everybody. So calm down. Hit the brakes a little bit. Don't panic. But we still can't be entering next year with the same lineup, right, Lou?
Nope. There you go.
I don't want the same lineup. I think we all know the Giants need probably two starters. We actually need a bullpen, probably three arms. We definitely need a closer and probably another big bat. But, I think Glenn brings up a great point. Because of Buster's signings last year, it has sort of affected what we can do this year. We're sort of backed in a corner. And, again, Buster can only do so much. But when you have 35 owners and one big guy, the majority, telling you, hey, listen, I want to keep it in this range, that's your budget. I just think Buster shouldn't say, hey, the fans deserve better, and I'm going to give you better, when really he never should have said that, because he knew that wasn't probably possible. So, again, I think the Giants will make moves, but there won't be anyone that's going to, turn heads or anything, because the Devers was probably the trade they would have done this offseason, and they're who we are. Unfortunately, the Giants have two things going against them. Everybody else is trying to improve the team, and then they live in a dream world thinking our team's going to be better because we have a guy managing the team that's never done it before. So being a fan, being a season ticket holder myself, I'm a little frustrated because, you went into – it's sort of weird, the timing of Baggarly's thing too, because, this weekend on Sunday is the meetings. We've been talking about it for a while. Hey, Buster's, it's really his first meeting. Last year he wasn't really set up. It was sort of chaotic, but he said he's going to improve the team. The fans deserve it. We're going to the winter meetings. Everyone's fired up. And then the week before it starts, we're told we're not going to spend any money. We hear that the Japanese pitcher, we weren't even in the meeting. I mean, are you kidding me? Here's a guy. The problem with the Giants and their fans, and I'd say Susan and Alex, is they were talking about this guy that the Giants were in on him. The Giants were in on this pitcher from Japan. Hopefully, before the Cease thing that Eric bought up, oh my God, Cease did. Now this thing is going to cost $250, where hopefully we're getting $150. We didn't even get into the meeting that they were talking about the money. So that's the one thing about the Giants is they're always blowing smoke, and this has sort of come back to hit them. It's the same thing where, we're in with Ohtani. Yeah, there were 5 teams talking to Ohtani. We finished 5th in the bidding. Same thing with Judge. Oh my God, we're going to get Judge. We finished 4th out of 4 teams. The Giants love to talk a game, but they just don't even get invited to the table. It's like these, little blind man's bluff. You could say you're going out with the most beautiful girl in the world, but if nobody ever sees you with her, how in the hell are we supposed to believe you? So I just think, if Alex is going to do it, something like that, after these meetings, Buster's got to speak because he spoke after the season. And if you remember last season, it wasn't Buster. It was our great third baseman that said, I've been talking to people. We're going to be bringing people in. Okay, we got Adames, yes, but that probably wasn't the people he was talking about. And now, Buster's got to get in and say, guys, there just wasn't a good fit. And I'd rather Buster say, hey, there wasn't a good fit this year because the Giants, we want to spend money wisely. He's going to tell you what you want to hear. But also with 2027, unsure of, we don't want to make a big commitment because maybe we're not playing, but just be patient with us. If you were to say something like that, because they're never going to say rebuild, I wouldn't have a problem. But when they keep saying, hey, like when Buster's been saying, I'm really confident with our team, confident with our team where, we're going to be better producing. We're going to be better run scoring. We're going to be better this. Last year, Giants were bad in so many positions. That's why we were a 500 ball team, and it's just one of those things where you can only talk so much. The Giant fans, last year they gave Buster a mulligan, but after what he came out and said, hey, I'm going to make this team better and the fans deserve it, someone's going to have to be accountable because you can't tell this people at the end of the season, guys, we're going to get people, we're going to prove the team. Now the winter meetings, and we go into February or the World Baseball Classic where we really haven't made a difference except the manager. And that's not fair to the fans. That's not fair to the city. It's not fair to the advertisers of the Giants. Because they're assuming, hey, and again, we know we're not going to be like the Dodgers, but we got to be close to Arizona and San Diego. You got to give the fans hope. If not, why are they going to show up to the ballpark?
You know what, Lou? On the other side of that coin, I agree with you on everything you said. We talked earlier today about how they kind of pigeonholed them in with these long-term contracts. I mean, you could look at this year, next year, an upgraded third, but they've really put themselves into a corner there. But on the other side, Eric, 2 things to keep in mind. Number 1, while Buster isn't out there, pumping his chest, he has shown over his first year that he is very good at the poker table. He can hold things to the chest. And, I never knew anything about that Devers deal until I put on ESPN and then they were showing the start of the game. I go, whoa, hold on. He's leaving the bullpen. He's not our starter tonight. So that was held close. The other thing is, still don't give up. There are still guys out there like, the flavor of the week, Joe Ryan. There are pitchers out there, and I think they are still going to add they have to add a pitcher, Eric.
Perfectly set up. Man, look at that. You set him up. I knock him down. All right, I'm going to go back in time here a little bit. Remember what Greg Johnson said, guys, before or after the end of the season? Or actually should say before the beginning of the offseason? They don't want to spend money on long-term contracts. He said they don't want to spend 9 figures and they don't want long-term. So that immediately, I said this from the very beginning, that there's no way that they're going to go out there and sign, as much as we'd love to. Imai, if Imai was below 100 million, maybe, and if he only wanted maybe 3 years, okay, that might have been a possibility. But Ranger Suarez, he's going to get paid too much. Dylan Cease was going to get paid too much. I mean, and of course, Framber is going to get paid as well, right? So you could almost immediately say, you know what, forget about those guys. And look, and all this talk about Imai to the Giants was just that. It was just talk. It was a bunch of fans. Oh, he wants to beat the Dodgers. He's going to be a Giant. No. Listen to what the owner is saying, and then it will guide you in a certain direction. It may not work out that way. It could be the complete opposite. But that being said, does that mean that's the end of the world because we don't get because we don't get Tatsuya Imai? No, it's not. Seriously, this guy was probably going to bring you in 25 million annual average, right? 25 million is probably what he would have got. So now, guess what? To your point, Glenn, there's other options to go get good pitching, but how are you going to spend? Again, this is the title of the show. How will the San Francisco Giants spend? You could spend by trading. You could go trade for, if you want a Joe Ryan, that's going to be a little bit rich, okay? You could trade for a Freddie Peralta, who's basically a one-year rental. It won't cost you much. The Kansas City Royals are looking to maybe trade a starting pitcher for an outfielder. So you could go out there and trade for maybe Bubic is a guy out there that you could go out there and get, right? Mm-hmm. He might be okay, and he's probably not going to cost you much. He made it, and they need outfield. And guess what? The Giants have a shit ton of outfielders, right? Giants also got a plethora of pitching. They could use that to go get a position player somewhere. So it's not the end of the world because the Giants are out on Imai. That means nothing. And you know what else they didn't say? You also got to look at what wasn't said in that article. And they never said anything about the Giants spending up to the CBT, because the Giants could spend up to the CBT, and you could, if you get the trades right, you could have another 4 guys on your team. It could be done. It's just, it is the organization. If you don't want to spend out the big bucks, are you willing to go out there and trade for guys that are going to make your team better right now? There's no guessing. If you trade for a bona fide player, whether it's a pitcher or an outfielder, you're good to go. There's no guessing. So I don't think it's the end of the world, guys.
You know what? You just brought it up, Eric. You set it up for me back. You volleyed. You're right back at me. I was going to ask you, maybe Lou can chime in, but all this panic in the last, 12 hours. Oh my God, we're not going to get Imai. We're not going to get Imai. Exactly. Don't panic. Don't you think for a moment that the wise man, Buster Posey, the wise man, the guy who's building
wise man.
Well, I've changed my tune and we're not even into the new year yet. But
the
listen.
Wise man.
Listen.
Oh my God. You said the wise man.
Well, Eric, Chardol, and Buster. There you go, the 3 wise men. But listen, Eric, if you're Buster Posey, I don't think the fans should be outraged at news that Imai wouldn't be coming. Don't you think that Buster Posey would rather spend the money and get a guy like Ryan or another pitcher when you know what you're getting, Eric?
Yes.
There's nobody know. Look at Roki Sasaki. Great job out of the bullpen for the Dodgers, won the World Series. He had a role that he kind of stumbled upon, really. I mean, He wasn't chosen to be a closer, a relief pitcher, Eric. Little Roki Sasaki. He was brought in to be like a number 3, number 4. He was going to be, he wasn't, Eric. He wasn't. Go out and get somebody you know what you're getting and spend the money on a quality product.
How about this? And everyone talks about Imai could be the next greatest thing. Yamamoto, his first year wasn't the greatest. This year was better, right? Shohei Ohtani. And the reason why people like to look over Shohei Ohtani because of his bat, he had 2 freaking Tommy Johns in his short stint in MLB so far. 2. So, I mean, and the reason why you could get away with it because he still has the bat. So he wasn't out so long to where he wasn't going to be effective. He was still effective. So you don't know. You're gambling on a lot of money for one guy. And the thing is, the Giants are not one guy away. Did you realize you could go out there and get an equivalent of 3 guys that would be the equivalent of 1 freaking Imai contract? It could.
Exactly.
It makes sense to go out there and you trade. Because guess what? I say this all the time. Every single year you have a draft. 2 drafts. You have a draft in the international at the end of this month, which is, by the way, December 1st. And you have the regular amateur draft in the summer. You always are replenishing your coffers, if you will, with freaking prospects. So
And a trade doesn't have to be 1 for 1 either, Eric. 1 good trade can change your season.
It could. Absolutely, it could. Now, maybe Buster is going to do that. We'll see. There is nothing out there that says the Giants will not, quote unquote, spend. They just might not spend on a particular player that everyone is clamoring for. I was from the beginning. I did not like the idea of Imai. If it was going to cost you $150 million plus, you're putting you said it the other day, you're putting a lot of eggs in one basket.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I'd rather spread the wealth, but you're gonna have to spend. And what I mean by spend, you have to trade. And look, and you still could go out there and spend some money in free agency as well.
And the Imai thing really had me worried, Eric, because yes, I said that the other night. You can't but realistically, Eric, haven't the Giants been putting the eggs in one basket for the last 5 years? It's always this guy, and then what do we do now? So, feel it out. There are options. And hey, it's not all about free agency. I agree with Eric because how many people say, well, they didn't spend? Well, they sure spent when they took on that Devers contract, didn't they? But they didn't do it through free agency. It doesn't have to be done through free agency. Get a good deal done. Hey, if you can get a taker for a Matos, even a Ramos, you can shake things up, Eric, with a good trade. The Giants have done it in their history before. Matt Williams, and they can do it again.
They could do it. No, absolutely. Lou.
You got to have balls, Lou. You got to have balls to do that, Lou.
Yeah. One of the things that we haven't brought up is I think the Giants are sort of disappointed in Lee. And they went to the international market, spent money, and they realized, because he was the best of the KBO. And we all knew coming in the KBO is like AAA, maybe a 4A player. And they realized, listen, if we're going to spend this much money, 150, we got to get a proven quantity. Not a guy that's played in Japan that we're not 100% sure of. The only thing that is, you fall back on Lee, but that's sort of how the Giants are. They'll try something once, and if it doesn't work out, they'll double think it again. It's one of those things. Free agency. Adames, they spent the money. He's now the highest paid Giant of all time. Next year, hey, you know what? Let's take a couple steps back. As Glenn would always say, they're doing it safe. Again, I'd rather spend the $150 million on 2 guys, because you have, as you brought up, we need more than just a pitcher with question marks. I'd rather get somebody where, I know what they've done.
He's legit. He's bona fide in the MLB. Jim Thurkel, look at that. He donates $10. He's being generous this holiday season. Thank you, Jim.
Ho, ho, ho.
If Buster doesn't do anything this year, the other way there between Buster and Farhan is Buster has Eric's hair and Farhan has Dan's. I hope they are playing possum on the kid from Japan. I don't want Imai. I don't want Imai. It's gonna cost too much, and the Giants need to do more, right? Would you not be happy if you? Okay, let's talk about this. If you're able to go out there and say get Freddie Peralta, are you telling me Freddie Peralta is not a solid? between a number one and number two. And if you got him for a year, and maybe you can extend him, maybe you can't. And look, and here's another thing. And there may be a reason why they don't want to spend a lot of money, because in Andy Baggarly's article, he talks about the $17 million that they got to pay Snell this year. Stupid. That was stupid. And and you know what else he mentioned? He mentioned you got to pay $10 million for Tony Vitello. That's $27 million that is allocated. Now, does it go against the CBT?
$27 million not on the field, Eric. Not on the field.
It doesn't go against the CBT, but it is money going out. Okay.
Yep.
But that should be nothing. For me, that's chump change for the freaking Giants, or if you think about it, right? Come on. That's not going to affect the CBT and what you could do with the players. But that being said, if you go out there and you get Freddie Peralta, you got him for 1 year at $8 million. Maybe you extend him, maybe you don't. Or if you go out there and, Joe Ryan's a little bit rich. I don't think I would go with Joe Ryan. But if you could trade for a Freddie Peralta, trade for a Bubich, and then you still may be able to trade for a freaking Stephen Kwan. You could get 3 trades. Now, that being said, you're going to have to give up quite a bit, right? For Kwan. Kwan is going to be the one. It may cost you an Eldridge. It may cost you an Eldridge if you want Stephen Kwan. But to get Bubich, what? I don't even know. What do you think it's going to cost? Probably not that much. They said they want outfield help. Giants got a shit ton of outfield depth, that is. And then Freddie Peralta, even though it's a 1-year contract, he still may cost a Elliot Ramos. And if that's the case, then that's the price of doing business.
And I take it Joe Ryan. Eric, and you know what? Yamamoto sure looks like a world champ to me. Well, you know what, Eric?
Mm-hmm.
If you keep pulling guys from overseas, you'll hit on somebody. Mm-hmm. So do we take? He could be a Nolan Ryan. He could be a nothing. So do we take Joe Ryan and be happy because you know what you get, and you throw Peralta's name? I think the trade market and signing the right free agent. There are free agents out there, Eric. There's still pitchers out there that are available. Mm. That can help the ball club, and you know what they give you. That's the one thing I love. There's something, it's very getting a guy from overseas, like Lee was like that, kind of a sexy move, wasn't it? We don't know because we don't. You know why it is? Because we don't know what we're getting. It's exciting, Eric. It's like, oh, look, we just got this guy, or we got this guy. Oh, Imai might come. Yeah, he might be a bum. He might be great. He might be a bum. But I've seen enough pitchers in Major League Baseball that are making their move into free agency, Eric, that you kind of know what you're going to get. So I'm leaning more toward that direction lately, that it doesn't have to be the sexy pick. It's the same with home run hitting. Everybody wants home run hitters, Eric. No, it's the sexy pick. I know. I want teams that score runs. Home run hitting doesn't score your runs, Eric. You got to get run production, means guys who hit. So it's the same thing with pitching. I'd rather get a guy and know what I'm getting, bring him in, give him the ball. And there's no, like every other year, well, maybe, could be, might be good. I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, go ahead, Luke. Go ahead.
What I was going to say is, people keep talking about Yamamoto. First of all, Yamamoto's contract was 10 years, what,
$325.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're taking, and second of all, he's going to an environment where he wasn't the ace. If you remember, he had support. If Yamamoto was to come to the Giants, he would have Webb, but Webb would be at 2 steps below him. He wouldn't be the same pitcher. And I think sometimes people don't realize with our offense and our pitching, he fits the Dodgers great. But would you pay a guy 7 years, $200 million for a guy that maybe is half as good as Yamamoto, right, and there's question marks? So I was never a big fan of him. I think the one thing is I would rather, first of all, if you look, Milwaukee's been good the last 2 years. Okay. They're playoff teams. And if you look, who's their best pitcher when he's healthy? It's been Peralta. And I think you brought up a great point about him. He doesn't cost much. It would only be 1 year, but he would probably be our ace. And for not really giving up a lot and paying a lot, You know, the one benefit, and we talk about our big contracts, is Webb's contract. He doesn't get paid
That's
a lot.
reasonable. No, he doesn't.
Very reasonable. You know, that's why he's a great trade asset. And I give Dan the credit for that because he's been saying you should trade Webb the last 3 years. He's been right there. But now, because of Webb's thing, we now get Peralta. At least we'd have 3 guys, right, left, right.
Yeah.
3 guys
Right.
where now we can be okay with our minor leaguers as a 4th and 5th in case we don't pick somebody up.
You could see what they have.
You can see what we have. And then the money is for guys. Like, you know, I saw today in San Diego, they're giving away their best contact hitter. I know a lot of people don't like their defense, but boy, wouldn't he fit in our lineup great? And last time I looked, if he would have been in our lineup, say batting 5th or even 3rd, just contact, the guy never strikes out. That was the Giants' biggest problems. Runners in scoring position, either strikeouts or pop-ups. This guy hits line drives. He doesn't cost a lot. So if you get him, you now take care of 2 things. You have a leadoff guy. You have a guy that makes contact that doesn't strike out. My God. Our lineup now looks better. And then you have money to maybe go after one big bopper or maybe a closer. You know what I mean? It's money spent wisely on the right people. And the Giants, the biggest problem the last 5 years by being safe is they've spent money, but it really hasn't been spent wisely. You know, it's sort of like last year at this time, I think it might have been on the Monday. Oh my God, we got Adames. How much? Who were we going against? I know we needed him, but it was like, are you kidding me? We spent this much money on this guy? Yeah, but he was great last year. But we didn't look what he did 2 years ago or what he did 4 years ago. You know what I mean? And I think the Giants got to start doing, Eric, exactly what you said. We missed out on a guy where we were going to spend 200. But the Giants, at least we're talking. So then we know we have money that we can spend. Let's get 3 or 4 guys to make our lineup either offensively or pitching better because we need it. You know, if we got him and nothing else, well, who cares about our pitching when we don't have a closer and our bullpen's horrible? It's ineffective. Yeah. It's like, you saying, hey, I'm going to move to the burbs, but I'm living in a barn, but I'm allergic to animals. What are you doing? It makes no sense. You got to do it the correct way. I'm just telling you. Sometimes
I got to think about that one. Well, Lou, to your point, I agree, Lou. This is a team. People, we do talk. I think there's a need for pitching. Bullpen start. It's a team in disarray right now. Face it.
Disarray is a good word.
Face it. It's in disarray. There are pieces missing all over the place. But who are the winning teams, Eric? The Dodgers. What do? They can all hit. They can all hit.
They spin.
But on the field, they can hit. The Milwaukee Brewers, they hit and they run. They had average pitching. They had good pitching. They hit and they run. They produce runs. The Toronto Blue Jays, one of the most unidealistic marketing lineup in baseball, besides 1 or 2 players, right? I mean, entering the playoffs, I knew guys would know who they were at the end of the playoffs, but a lot of guys, they didn't know. Who's this guy? Who's Barger?
Yeah.
What do? They built a team that can hit, they could run, they can produce runs. That is something the Giants traditionally can't do. They are not a run-scoring team. And while I may be the only one saying this, everybody says, get the pitching because with that spacious ballpark, oh my God, it's all about pitching. Well, with a spacious ballpark and good hitters, why can't you be just out knocking the other team? You should be able to look at all the gaps, look at all the field you got to hit in. Why is it always the pitching in the big ballpark and not the hitting? Get me a lineup of guys who can hit much. You can't win with 220 hitters, a lineup of 220 and 180 hitters. Again, I go back to how the need is there. The need is there. It's identifiable. Catcher can't hit. He can't hit. He can't hit at all. He's terrible. But we love him because he can go up a strike. Oh, he stole one tonight. Whoopee-doo. That's not going to win you the ball game, Eric. You got going back over 100 years, Eric. If you don't score runs, you don't win.
No.
Hey,
you lose
Glenn,
1-0. So what's
Hey.
the point of having a better pitching staff if you're going to lose every game 1-0?
Hey, Glenn, can you help the chat? Where Toronto in the World Series this year? Where did they finish last year in their division?
Last year?
Dead last,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
In
I think
24.
so.
Dead last. 61 wins, I believe. That's how bad they were. And in 1 year, they turned it around because what they did is they had a young stud pitching. They had pitchers that could hold the team down, but they had pieces in the puzzle that fit. And I know we use this not on Friday because I was at an Arizona alumni thing, Go Cats. But I think it was last Wednesday I was on. They
He's at
had
the club.
pieces
At the bar.
of a puzzle that fit. And within 1 year, they were in the dance. That's what the Giants got to start doing. We have too many holes on our puzzle. You know, we might have a few ends, but we're missing the other ends, and we're missing stuff. We got to go and either take care of our offense or take care of our pitching.
The old puzzle piece. The old puzzle
piece,
routine
you know?
again. Huh?
And
the other thing the Blue Jays did, Lou, that the Giants never do. They're against it for some reason. Those young players in the Blue Jays system who played this year and batted 280, they were given their shot. They go, here, just go out. Why did they turn it around? It was a team made up of young players who were exciting and who could hit. We've had 15 RBIs in a week, player of the week, and then they send them to the minors. I mean, Matos, the rejection for Matos, Eric was all over him, and for good reason, Eric. The guy produces, and I told you, it happened more than once. How many times we do a show on Monday, and I go, he hit a home run Sunday afternoon.
Oh, yeah, right. You know,
He's back in the minors. That guy was doomed. If he had a home run on a Sunday, down. What is it about the I don't know, man. Is it the management? Is Buster going to make moves and let him play? I don't like are you guys telling me the same routine even next year? Stop with the platooning. If you're going to have Devers, I don't care if he's hitting a righty or a left. Devers is in the lineup. Put him in there. Adames is in there. Chapman is in there. Put your team on the field and let him play. Stop with the baloney of this. Well, we're going to put this bum in right field tonight because, he could do a little bit better. Give me the best players. The other successful teams don't do that. Eric, you play your best nine, in my opinion.
Right.
That's the way it should be.
And what has Buster done since he's been here, man? He's gone out there and made some damn significant moves. Why wouldn't you think they're going to do it this year? It just doesn't jive. It doesn't jive. The guy wants to win. And the way you got to win is you got to have some pretty damn good players, right? You got to have good players. And look, I'm going to tell you something right now. If the Giants, if the pitching moves is Zach Gallen and Max Scherzer, I'm going to have an issue. Now, I'll be on here. Look, I'll be on here being.
There are guys in the chat. You did you see them, Eric?
Yeah, I see them.
Scherzer, Verlander, back in. Will it be okay? We won't be okay. Stop.
And I'll tell you. Now, look, and if that's the route that they decide to go, well, then we're in some doo doo.
And that spells cheap. That spells cheap.
We are in the barn sleeping with the animals, Lou. That's what's going to be going on if they sign Zach Gallen and Max Scherzer.
I don't want to be on land, Eric. I want to be aqua. I don't want to be on land and barnyards. I want to go deep sea diving. I want to get great players. I mean, take it to the H2O. Take it to the waters, Eric. Deep sea dive. Go out and get the good players.
Oh, man. Look, guys, all I'm going to say, hey, I did this last year, remember? During the trade or during the offseason, Glenn, right? Take a deep breath. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. We're going to sign Corbin Burns. No. Let's see what can happen. And look, and it could be an absolute dumpster fire. And then, you know what? Then we could come over here, get on the show, and we could just let it go. We could.
Before.
And that's fine. We can't do that now because nothing has happened yet. Right? So
Same with the manager. I'm not happy about it, Eric. But hey, if they win 110 games, nobody's going to say, "Well, that was a risky move," right?
Yeah, I know, right?
And as much as there are people in the chat that agree with us, there are as many that don't agree. And you know what? None of us know. None of us know.
None of us know. None of us. But what I'm not going to do, I can't sit here and say that the Giants are not going to spend because they've spent. They've
That was
spent.
last
And
year.
Yes. So they're going to spend. I got to believe that they're going to spend.
And then, Eric, the one thing about the Giants, and I think, with the ownership coming out, they just got two new, again, they're small companies that bought 3 floors of their establishment behind the ballpark.
You're talking Mission Rock.
Called Microsoft. And then they just got another company I've never heard of, NVIDIA, some company in San Jose, who's huge. Only the biggest chip maker, bought 8 floors of what are the things. So don't tell me they don't have money. These are people that, and when Glenn, if I remember right, I wrote it down, the Giants did $3.2 million last year. So they have money. It's all about spending quality money on the right players. And I think with the 2027, I think they know more than us, saying, hey, we might not have a season. I think it's going to be really bad. I think it's going to be the iceberg where we might not play for 3 or 4 months, and they're going to spend money like this month wisely. And then when 2028, if they don't play 2027 or when they come back, they said, hey, we didn't spend 2026. We didn't spend 2027. We're making money. Now we're ready. And at the same time, they're hoping at that time, the Dodgers, Ohtani's 3 years older. They're getting ready to maybe move forward from Chapman.
There's still a 5-year
4 years older. Yeah.
You know what, Eric? Lou, were you with me the show? I've done a back-to-back show, so I'm sure you were with me a couple of shows ago, and I have twice used the same line that no matter what Buster does, it seems that the fans are all over him, man. You can't win and you can't lose. It's all for losing. And listen, he hasn't even made any offseason real moves yet. It's been a quiet offseason, Lou, but already we got a fan base. And Lou, I'm not opposed to calling him out on this show, Lou. That's what I do. Joshua. Now, Lou, don't laugh, Lou. Keep the chuckles inside. Bundle them up. Okay? They traded for an outfielder who strikes out just as much or more than McRae. How do you compare McRae and Devers, Lou? I don't think you don't. Grant McRae, first of all, you can't trade Grant McRae. Who wants Grant McRae, Eric? Oh, Eric's not even with us. Eric didn't want to laugh. He left.
Grant McKay, as he's known on other stations, Grant McKay strikes out 42%. Okay. Yep. And when he comes up, he has no presence. Devers, with that stance, is a chance where he's going to hit the ball out.
He says he's talking about the Marlins outfielder we got. Regardless.
The crumbs? That's called a crumb. That's like a farmhand move. We picked him up for nothing. Okay. He's not going to be starting. He's going to be like our 6th or 7th outfielder. He's going to be competing with bench time with your favorite player, our right fielder, Tony V's favorite player. The cheerleader. I thought he was talking about Devers too. But the thing with the Giants is if he would have signed Imai, people would have said, my God, you spent $200 million on this bum. Why didn't you get somebody from the States? Now that he's not even invited to the table to sign him, people already against him that he didn't go for it. So I think, Glenn, you bring up a great point. It's either you can't win.
Damned if you do. Damned if you don't.
Damn if you do, damn you don't. So
I bring up Devers' name only because, listen, you can't – they're talking about Grant McRae. There are a lot of Giant fans who think that – I don't know what it is, Lou. I'm going to throw it to you, Lou. I got to ask you, and I've heard you say it. You've talked about it as much as me. What is it about when the Giant fans – I mean, and maybe I'm as guilty. I'm a huge Wilmer Flores fan. Wilmer was clutch.
Agree.
What is it about players like Grant McRae? They go out and buy a jersey and they love this guy and other channels. We got to get Grant McRae back on our show. Who cares? Grant McCray. The only thing I saw Grant McCray, the only memory I have of Grant McCray last year was playing the LA Dodgers on a Friday night. He got thrown out at home plate by 11 feet.
That was because of Matt Williams. He's no longer here, though. That was Matt Williams.
Yeah.
Come on.
Still Grant McCray at
all,
third base. The guy is Eric. What did he do for it? What did he do? Well, he's a good bench player.
Grant McCray,
a bench player's got to
McCray
come off the bench once in a while too. You know, he can't just sit on the bench all year. And he might be a good bench player. Well, we don't need we need players.
Yeah, Glenn, you bring up a great point. The Giants last year probably had 7 4A players, and those are guys that can't make it in the major leagues, that maybe have 1 week where they get a little feeling of it, and then reality hits. Then they go back to AAA. I mean, I can't believe how many times, oh, my God, look who we're bringing up. The guy batted .382 in AAA, and the guy was like 2 for 40. People don't realize the difference between AAA and the major leagues would be like going from 8th grade to, I'd say, 8th grade freshman basketball, where you're really good, going to college. It's such a huge step up. And a lot of guys can't make it. You know, we're talking about some of our guys who are this year that never got called up, but every other team wants them. No, the Giants have to admit, and you know, who knows? We might be saying the same thing about Eldridge. Their farm system and people who they think they can make it to the next level. You know, you got to remember Ramos was only up because of Lee's injury, but the Giants talk a big game. How good these guys are, how good our minor league system is, how good these pitchers are. And when they come up, they're busts. And I only say that because the record of the Giants probably in the last 7 seasons, you know, Ramos is a solid player, so I'll give him, but they didn't really have that high expectations for him. Everybody else has been a bust. Harrison,
I agree, Lou.
bust.
And if you go over the lineup over the last since 21, go through the roster of call-ups, and there's the McCrays and the Wade Mecklers and all the guys. They just had no business being here. And I will give a shout out to Insane. He says he had that great throw, right field to third base, gunned out one of the Dodger players. That was beautiful. But I think, you know what? I didn't even think of that, because it's kind of like Bill Buckner syndrome. The guy
Did
is
the guy wins the batting
title, but you only remember him for one thing, right?
The guy, did you know Buckner was an absolute excellent baseball player? But like you said, because of the between the wickets, so to speak.
I forgot about that. Behind the bag, Buckner. Vin Scully,
one of the best hitters in the baseball.
He was.
Yeah, no.
All those top cards.
I think the problem with the Giants is we have too many guys that are our 21st and 24th best player that we think, and we treat them like they're our starters, and they're not. And a lot of times the Giants give way too many guys. And it's sort of like, you know, Eric brings up the draft. I've heard these guys' names. Oh, my God, these guys are going to be great. They've been in the minors for 7 years. You know, I think once it gets to a point where they can't make it in 7 years, they're never going to make it. So just give them a full-out release. Maybe it's our program, or it didn't fit. You know, it's sort of like the pitcher that got signed the other day. The guy was a stud at St. Louis. He went to New York. He couldn't get anybody out. It didn't work out. Sometimes you need a change. It's like a bad breakup. You got to get away from it. But the Giants, they keep bringing back. It's sort of like, and I'm going to say this to the chat, you guys keep thinking we're good. We're not even a 500 team. We haven't been good for 10 years. Okay? You know, we're automatically going to be good because we have Buster in charge. He's never done the job, but Buster's in charge. We're going to be good. You know, it brings back me to the point is we got to stop thinking as a fan of what happened, because baseball's changed. Okay. 2010, 12, and 14, baseball is changed. And I'll just give 3 examples. We had the best manager in the business who knew how to work the bullpen. Because of him, they changed the rules. If you remember, he would bring 4 relievers in for 4 batters. It didn't matter, right? He used it. He knew what it took. Now you got it. 1 reliever's got to be for 3 batters. All right. So they changed the rule there. Number 2, there was no such a thing about hitting a ball a certain angle. There was no such thing as that. Nothing. You know, the Giants came in saying, let's hit home runs. We hit homers. We had 1 good year, 2021. The rest, all we do is strike out. And then it was like, all right,
Mhm.
remember back then, the Giants got lucky too. Trade deadlines. We picked up quality players. If you looked in 2010, 12, and 14, we got lucky through trades. We traded for guys that fit the Giants mold. We haven't really done that in 4 or 5 years. Now, Devers, he might fit the Giants mold, but we got to give him a chance. You got to remember the other thing too about him is he went from a ballpark, especially for a lefty. All you got to do is use your wrist, basically the Green Monster was like a free base every time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now he's got to adapt to Oracle. If you remember last year, he only had, I think, one homer that he pulled. Everything was either center field or left center. So
the one that he pulled was the game we were at. Blue, me, you,
exactly.
and Ibrahim.
But that was the only one.
It was a moonshot, man.
Saw it on TV.
You got to remember that. And then if you can just go through that with the Giants, here's the other thing with the Giants. Last year at the trade deadline, they thought they had the best bullpen and best pitching, so they traded 3 guys away, and it came back to, in their face. So it happens, but they got to start thinking differently, just like the fans in the chat, guys. Okay. Unfortunately, we have a new manager, so we got to see how it's going to work out. It might be great. It might be bad, but we got to stop thinking that these are the same Giants of 2010, 12, and 14. Baseball's different. All right. Everything's different, and the Giants got to adapt to it. And I think, as what Glenn said earlier, they got to get guys, instead of using the ballpark as an excuse, they got to get guys that fit the ballpark. You got to get guys that fit the ballpark offensively. You just can't do pitching. Because as you remember last year, the Giants were number 1 and number 2 pitching probably 3/4 of the year, but it was the offense that let him down.
Yes.
So,
You know what, Lou? I said to Eric, you might not have caught it. You had obligations the other night. You weren't with us. I said to Eric, I brought up a point. You go back to the World Series teams. Go back to 2010. Here we are 15 years later. You tell me who our solid, everyday second baseman has been.
We don't have him.
We just recycle second base. All the World Series teams, we'd bring in a second baseman. Scudero. Oh my God, Scudero. He's gone the next year. And then Panic. I thought, okay, Panic looks like a nice little player. He was gone as quick as he. This team, what is it about this team? We haven't had a second baseman, I think, since Jeff Kent.
well, let's
Good
talk
point.
about left field.
Left
We
field
went
the same
19
way.
straight years where we had a different left fielder on opening day.
Well, we had Connor Joe.
it's
That was a good year.
Connor Joe. We got rid of him 2 weeks, and the guy's a stud for Pittsburgh.
Exactly.
Sometimes we wish
Exactly.
we still had him. Yeah, and I think the problem with the Giants too is, at least growing up as a fan, you fell in love with players that were there for a while. They'd come through the farm system. They get their call up. They stay up, and you start falling in love with them. That's where you get these fans. The Giants tried to go different process, different time, different ownership. Let's get free agents. And it backfired, and then they thought they had pitchers that they thought, oh, we're only 3 games out at the trade deadline, where they should have traded guys 100% that weren't there. That's how you could have done the farm system. If we would have done some of these guys that we should have traded, you go back Snell, you go back, what's his name for Toronto, all these guys, the guy for the Yankees, you probably would have had 9 prospects. At least 2 or 3 of them could be our guys right now.
Yeah.
In the position, an outfielder, maybe our second baseman. I spoke to Eric earlier today. We have 2 studs that are probably 2 years away, and they both play the same position. Shortstop. One guy's supposed to be automatic. The guys that we got from the international pool, maybe one of our best prospects ever. But what are we going to do? We got Adames, who's our highest paid player of all time at the position. So you're going to have a guy tell him, hey, you need to move? Or are we going to have a guy that's a great athlete, shortstop? He's got to move. So, sometimes you got to make tough decisions. I think when you go back, the Giants, if they didn't make tough decisions, they wouldn't have been basically a playoff team every year with our old GMs. We bring up the Matt Williams trade. Everyone hated it. They weren't even sure who we were getting. It was the best thing the Giants could have done. You know, you got to do expensive trades. The other thing, too, is what Eric has pointed out. We all want Eldridge to be, oh, boy. I would love him to be, I'm trying to think what player, you know, what he would be like. Combination of maybe like a Robbie's, like a Will Clark and maybe a Robbie Thompson. You know, I mean, somewhere like in between, we'd be satisfied, but we're not even sure how he's going to be, you know, because again, a lot of pressure, you know, not too many guys are 6'7", that really make it. You know, we just assume because the Giants saying, oh, Eldridge is our new superstar. Come on, guys. You know, it's one of those things, you know, there's a reason why like guys like the Dodgers in San Diego, when they have a guy that's really good in the farm system, they trade him to get somebody established. I think too many times the Giants, we're just hoping Eldridge is an above average player. I mean, I'd love for him to be, you know, an all-star. But, you know, too many times, like, you know, when I would be talking to Dan, he would talk about our guys. Ramos, oh, he's like an all-star. Matos, he's like an all-star. These guys, oh, Webb, he's our ace. No. In our minds, maybe they're aces, but reality in Major League, they're not. You know, Webb is a solid number 2. He might be our best pitcher, but he's a solid number 2. He's not an ace. There's only a few aces, you know. And when you look at our team, Chapman, oh my God, Chapman's not a Hall of Famer. He is a great defensive third baseman. You know, when you talk about the greatest third basemen, he's not like Craig Nettles, who was a great defensive and could hit. He's a level below him.
His numbers he doesn't even get a smell of a ballot, Lou.
No, but people love him like Susan. Oh, he's a Hall of Famer. Because of his defense? No. Then when you look at shortstop, Adames, you know, okay, I thought he was more of a disappointment last year. To tell you how bad we did last year, because of what he signed and where he came from, he was our Willie Mack Award. That's sort of embarrassing. Right? Then second baseman, we had Casey occasionally. We didn't have a second baseman. I go to the outfield. We had Yaz. You know, everyone praised Yaz defensively, but he couldn't hit. You know, at one time he was striking out. So, you know, Lee, the new sensation. If you looked at the statistics, he was one of the worst center fielders in baseball. But we Chung-Hoo Lee, loved the guy like he was our best player. And then in right, oh my God, we have a guy that didn't know how to run the bases. It was almost like, does this guy have an IQ? Does he know what he's doing? I mean, is he that dumb? How did he make it to the major leagues if he doesn't know the basics? And that's the problem with the Giants. You know, we bend over backwards to make our guys superstars, but we got to start facing reality. You know, the Giants haven't been good. We've only made the playoffs 1 year in the last 10. And you know what? We can't use 3 and 5 anymore. That's over a decade ago, guys. We can't use the ballpark anymore. Mm-hmm. Okay? We need to start putting a quality product, because here's the thing. And I know Dan's going to love this. The Giants aren't, even though the A's are out of town, the Giants have a lot of competition. You have the Warriors selling out everything. The Valkyries selling out every game. We have 5 women's soccer teams. It's so big. It's so big right now that the women's championship was in San Jose. Okay. You have the Niners. You know, you have the Sharks. The Sharks right now are about to turn a corner where they're going to start making the playoffs every year. They're going to be sort of the team of the Bay Area. And if the Giants want to do it now, and if you remember what Susan wrote last year when the A's left, by 20, I think it was 2030,
they're going to be the richest. Yeah.
One of the richest franchises in baseball. So to get to that, they got to make smart moves to get to it. And either the Giants say, hey, guys, be patient with us. We're going to play the youth, which we've been asking for 3 years, or we got to spend money wisely. We're never going to be the Dodgers because the Dodgers are the Dodgers, but you got to get closer to other teams and stop thinking about being the third wild card, saying, all right, we're going to be the number 1 wild card. So at least we get home advantage. We're going to have 3 quality starters. And if we need to trade to someone like we did last year, the Giants will do it. You know, it's okay to spend money at the right time. So if the
Mhm.
Giants are maybe 2 games out, that's where you get the big bat, at the trade deadline, and I think it's just one of those things where we got to start thinking the Giants are thinking the Giants as a business, but as a fan, we don't think that way. We're always thinking, oh, we're only one player away, or maybe Adames had a rough year, or, and it's just getting old. The other thing about the Giants is they got to be a little bit more exciting. Last year, it's almost like when they were down 3 or 4-0, the game was over, and it was time to go home. And the other thing too is, and I brought this up before, it's not good when your 2 best Giants probably had 5 major highlights last year. Out of 162, that's not good. Bailey, who we don't like, inside the park homer, grand slam. We had another homer against the Dodgers. We had the inside park homer where Ramos didn't look at the third base coach, and we won that game. And then there was another one I think we won.
How about Wilmer? Wilmer in the opening series, and then he had a 3 home run game up in Sacramento.
But beside that, there wasn't really you know what I mean? It's like we had more problems where, oh my God, the Giants have lost 12 in a row at home. Remember, we couldn't win at home. We were like 1-14
to 15. It was horrible.
And it's hard to believe that we're talking about that when the Devers trade happened, we were 1 game out of first place playing the Dodgers. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things where we got to start being, I know fans are, fanatics, but we got to start being smart. I think the one thing, I think it's really important that we get smart fans that realize, and that's where the pressure is going to happen on the Giants.
Well, Lou, since you signed as a free agent with Giant Sports Talk Live, I think Lou Marston may be the greatest Giants free agent signing, and he's right here on GSTL. But Lou, since you've come over, you've seen the light. You know how pissed off I get, Eric. And Lou coming from Lou of all people, I'm going to run with it. When guys continue to come into the chat, and this is their favorite go-to line, the Valkyries aren't even competition for the Ballers. What are you talking about? The Valkyries play during the Major League Baseball season. It's a matching season, and they sold out the season. They're sold out again next year, and there's not even a collective bargaining agreement. They're sold out. It's the biggest. They sell out more. They sell more tickets than the Warriors. The Valkyries are the best-selling team in the Bay Area, but yet, no, the freaking basketball, women's basketball. If you're gonna make statements like that, it just shows you like Lou. It shows they don't know what. It's just.
All right. First of all, do you guys even know where the Oakland Ballers play their home games at? Eric, do you know?
I don't.
Yeah, Coliseum. Right?
No, they don't play at the Coliseum.
The Ballers?
No.
I thought.
No.
Oh, is it Davis? Is it
Davis?
Davis?
Stadium looks like Rickwood Field.
I can't remember.
They play in a stadium that maybe holds 1,200. I'm not even sure what city it's in. It's not in Oakland. Second of all, do you guys even know what Oakland Ballers, what league that is?
Yeah, that's like the freaking. It's like an independent league, right?
So you can't compare the WNBA, a team that basically made the playoffs, to the Oakland Ballers where, hey, we love baseball. We don't even know where they play. We're not even sure what city they play in and what league they're in. So in saying that's not a good comment.
Yeah, but Lou, you know what, Lou?
He was joking. He's saying he was joking.
Yeah, I don't think he was. But it continues to irk me, Lou. It continues to. What are you laughing at? It continues to irk me though, because I told you I had a debate with Dan off air one day, and yeah, how can you have a debate? You have to be somewhat knowledgeable to be involved in a debate, correct? How can you? How many games have you gone to? I went to one. Oh, well, at least I can. Oh, I guess that means we can have a debate. People who continue. Oh, yeah, I hate women's basketball. Have you ever watched it? No. Well, that's like the kid who doesn't like Brussels sprouts, and then he has to, in his adult life, he's got to, can I have a double order of Brussels? I mean, you cannot have an educated conversation with people who don't understand what they're talking about, Lou. Welcome to Giant Sports Talk Live.
Oh, you're muted, Lou. You're muted. I
was going to say, it's nice to be here.
Where do the Valkyries play? Of course, everyone knows where the Valkyries play. See, that's it.
Now they're
The other,
straight.
the other thing too is
Oh,
the Valkyries have an owner that cares. People might not know, but the same owner of the Valkyries owns the Warriors. That's why they play at Chase. He has money. He does whatever it takes to be successful. The Oakland Ballers, I don't even know who owns Oakland. The only reason why I know the Oakland Ballers, because JT Snow at one time was some type of coach. That's it. So, you know.
You think he's
again,
managing in Modesto? I think Modesto has a baseball team or something like that. I think he's doing that.
thought
Vita
he's
for
now a
life.
special, isn't JT Snow out with the Giants as another special advisor for
I don't know if he is
Eldridge and
anymore.
all
I have no
them?
idea.
I mean, that's
don't
like the new flavor of the month. Another
Vita-
advisor.
Vita
Giants
doesn't
have
know
more
where they
advisors
play.
than owners.
Vita doesn't know where the Valkyries play.
All right,
You know
hold
where the Valkyries play, Lou?
Of course. Right down the
There we go.
road, Chase.
Here we go.
They
Jason.
sell out the Chase Center, and how can I told? Do you remember, Lou? I mean, hey, I'm not going to beat this dead horse, but I told you guys on the show
it's
last
dead.
summer.
It's dead.
It's I told you last summer, Eric, and nobody. It was an afterthought. Oh my God, it's ridiculous. I said the Valkyries are going to easily outdraw the Giants weeknight games, and guess what? They did, and they will continue to, unless there is a change on field at Oracle. It's sold out. You can't get tickets for the Valkyries next year. Now, what happens on a Monday night when the Valkyries are playing the Las Vegas Aces down the street and there's 19,300 people there? And Lou, you know as well as I do, Lou, how many Monday nights we sit at the ballpark and then you hear Krupp and Kipe, the attendance tonight, 32,000. I go, there's not 23. There might not be 13. It's all BS. They think the fog, well, it's a low layer of fog. I think there's 32,000 tonight. We know what's going on because we're there, Lou. They don't draw. What's with
Let me
this?
get to Jason. Jason says
Bullshit.
Giants will not win a championship if they don't spend money. Is that what you're trying to say?
And if they need to spend money.
It will.
I think he's saying with
trying
our
to say,
team we have now, unless we spend, we're not going anywhere.
Okay.
He better mean that.
And I'll say this after we said this at the top of the show. How will the Giants, quote unquote, spend? You could throw out money or you can make trades. And until that is all done for this offseason, we cannot sit here, neither of us, same with all you out there in the chat, none of us can sit here and say the Giants are going to be an absolute failure or that the Giants are going to be on cloud nine. We can't, none of us. We're just along for the ride and we're here to talk about it. And let's just see. There are paths forward, right? I think we've all identified it over and over and over. We've identified where the Giants could improve. Mm-hmm. Whether or not they take that direction is who knows. The only people who know are those Buster Posey, the ownership, and whoever they decide to tell. That's
I like when Senior comes in. He's educated. See, he follows the WNBA. He knows Sacramento won a championship. But the problem was Sacramento didn't support the team.
No, they didn't. No.
Nope, didn't support the team.
But let's just see what happens. Don't be so freaking doom and gloom yet. And look, I'll go doom and gloom when it's time to doom and gloom. Right now, it's not that time yet. It may come to it. It may not. But let's talk about this again. We're still good. Giants missed out on Devin Williams. I thought that was going to be a closer that the Giants were going to be able to get. They passed on him for whatever reason. He's getting paid, I think, with the deferments, he's getting about $45 million a year for 3 years. So about $15 million. Yeah, $15 million a year, approximately, somewhere around there. I think if you take out the deferments, I think it comes up to like 17, something like that. But I thought that was a guy that the Giants were going to be able to get as a closer. Now, who are they going to target as far as a closer? Ranger Suarez? Or not Ranger, but Robert Suarez?
Eric, when New York's signing him, do you think maybe their free agent's going somewhere else?
Maybe.
No,
but here's the thing.
They want him back.
That's what they say. That's what they're saying. But whether or not that's going to happen, because they also, where's Pete Alonso going to go? Who's going to be their left fielder? Look, the Mets still got some holes to fill as well. So whether or not they sign him, but he's gonna garner a little bit of money. maybe in $100 million category. I don't think the Giants, but you got Robert Suarez, you got Pete Fairbanks. I don't want him. Who else is out there as far as a closer is concerned? I don't know. Helsley is already gone. I don't know if they trade for a closer.
Well, they got to get one.
That one's a little bit. I mean, one thing we can't have, right? We cannot have.
No, I know where you're
We
going.
cannot have Walker coming back as our closer. We can't.
So Eric,
No way.
Eric, being December 1st, and the meetings start Sunday. So on December 15th, if we haven't done anything, can I said I'm as mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore from the Great Movie Network?
I'll have the clip ready
I'll
for
give
you.
you 2
Yeah,
weeks.
right. Yeah, Matt. Yeah, why not?
Because you are right. Hey, Buster had, he did do the Devers trade where nobody was talking. Maybe the ownership and Alex told Alex, hey, write this now because really we're after somebody and we don't want anyone to know at the winter meetings. There's been, it's one of those things. The winter meetings are the winter meetings for a reason because you never know what happens. A lot of things happen. You're in a hotel room, for four days straight where, you have 8 people there. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. And you're right, because it's right now, the wedding hasn't taken place yet. The pitchers haven't even gone yet. There's still a lot of time, and the Giants might be able to pull a few surprises. But
Lou, you're in too good a mood tonight. Who needs the winter meetings, Lou? Who needs the winter meetings when you can just bring back the Rogers, Lou? Lou?
Armand's doing that. Armand, come on, man. He's doing that shit on purpose.
We need to move forward. I do not want either of them back. Guys, we didn't win with them. I don't understand why you guys keep wanting to bring these players back when they were on our team. We didn't win.
The love.
So we need to move forward. It's amazing. But I'll remember that, Armand. Thanks. Bring them both. Thanks. More torture. Double torture.
You brought something up. When I get on my WNBA kick, it gets out of control. Last time I checked, Giants get more fans than 19,000 constantly. And that is in response when I was talking about
Here we go.
the crowds.
Here we go.
Lou, do you see if you want to play that game insane? Lou, how many times do they bring women's soccer to Oracle Park in friendly matchups? Nothing on the line. And they draw a sellout.
40,000.
Yeah. So insane. You can't come at that. And then he says, only way I go watch a Valkyrie game is if they're playing the Fever. Well, Beto, unless you were, driving, you got a couple of Porsches and a BMW parked in the yard, you are, beyond my means. You ain't doing that because, do you go, how many games a year to go see the Giants when they're only $5 to get in and it's 5,000 to get in to see the Valkyries and the Fever? Huh? Tell me that. All these, I'd only go to see this game. Yeah, well, I don't see all these people who would do that. Spending $5 to go to a Giants game, Eric.
And she didn't play half the season last year.
There's a reason, Lou. And I feel bad for people. Lou, I feel bad for people like you, Lou, when I can go to the game for $5 and you continue to pay big money, hard-earned money for prime real estate at the ballpark. They're letting you down, Lou. I can go for $5 and we're seeing the same product.
Yeah, and the Giants this past week had their great Christmas Black Friday sale, $8 for upper level seats and certain bleacher seats. Doesn't include the Yankees, doesn't include the Dodgers, but included everybody else. And from what I told, they barely sold. These are $8 tickets for like Philadelphia, the Mets, Padres, Colorado, Detroit. I heard they only sold maybe like 250,000. That's it. At $8 a pop. That's scary. And as I brought it up with Eric and you before, the Giants are going to have a tough time drawing 3.2 this year because if you take away the Yankees opener, where you're missing a Saturday, and the Dodgers last 3 games of the season, they don't play a team with a winning record on the weekend. You got Colorado twice. They don't draw. San Diego, they don't draw. Chicago White Sox, they're not going to draw. Detroit Tigers, they're not going to draw.
Lou, when you've
Minnesota,
got $5 and
it's
$8
ridiculous.
tickets, $5 and $8 tickets. Am I off base here, Eric or Lou? If you're admitting already to having these sales, $5 and $8 tickets for next year's product, you are already admitting defeat. Because a quality program doesn't sell their tickets for that kind of cash.
Mark, look at that. He turned 59 this week. Happy birthday, Mark.
Happy birthday.
Probably won't see a Giants playoff win until I go to the ballpark in the sky, he says.
In the sky.
Come on, man.
A great ballpark.
Come on, Mark.
We're all going there one day.
So little faith. Come on, man.
We're all going there one day. Lou, hold me a seat when I get there. Don't roll.
I'm hoping I go after you, and you can hold the seat for me.
Now we're sitting here wishing death. Oh my God.
Good point, Lou. Good
Holy
point.
Shit.
I can't say as I agree with you, but good point.
Oh my gosh.
Who's going to hold down the show when we're gone, Lou? You and Chardall. The Eric and Robert Rothberg show. I can see it now.
Field an exciting team. If people will show up to the park, I don't give a rat's ass about renovations to the gates or the restaurants or what restaurants are in Mission Rock. There you go.
You know, in Mission Rock, I'm going to say it one last time, they have not marketed. Any other ballpark in any other city, when they have a Mission Rock next door, it's marketed. It's your go-to before the game. People in San Francisco ride in on the N or the J or whatever, however they get down there to Oracle. They ride in on the Muni, and then they head on out right after the game. There's no vibrancy. Right, Lou?
Yeah, people don't even know they have concerts behind by Mission Rock where people forget. I don't if you ask people, do you remember where the Willie McCovey statue is? Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't know there was one. I thought there was only one Willie Mays or the Cepeda. Behind there, they do concerts. They have food trucks. They have things nobody knows about it because they don't advertise. And I think that's one of the biggest problems with the Giants is most people, they just go to the ballpark. You know, as I've learned, if it's not like the Dodgers or the Yankees, when you go to a ballpark, the most popular spot, because they drink and have fun, are the bleachers. You go on a Thursday night, those bleachers are packed. Everywhere else, there's open seats. That's because the young people, they come there. And you got to remember, too, me being a season ticket holder, they're giving me 25% off merch and 25% off food and booze. That tells you something right there, you know? And it's like, hey, again, I probably wouldn't have had them if the tickets weren't our name. And, you know, to me, they're the best seats in the house and they're fun.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
but the problem with the Giants is they're using the 3 and 5 years, which was over a decade ago, and the ballpark. They got to do more. They got to advertise. When you have a concert, like they had those concerts, get somebody that people know. Yeah. You know,
love those seats, Lou. Love those seats, Lou.
You got to, you know, like I remember a Candlestick. Candlestick wasn't the greatest, but they used to have concerts where they brought the Beach Boys in. America. They even had the Monkees one time I went. You got to get names.
Hey.
You got to do more stuff. Yeah. And, you know, the Giants right now, they're getting people I've never even heard of.
Hey, it's Sister Golden Hair.
And the other thing, get rid of those buffoons, the Sunday crew. You know, you have those idiots that are always asking the trivia questions, and you got the DJ. Baseball doesn't need that. That's NBA crap. You got to make baseball and the pastime back. If you're going to do anything, I'd rather you do a guy, you know, like Mr. Freeze. Bring something where, you know, a gimmick that's going to help. Maybe what the Giants should do, bring in a lefty guy, try to hit one over. And if he ever hits it, he means $10,000.
Jesus. Can you see it opening night next year, Eric? Opening against the Dodgers, they bring in the Freeze and they draw.
It's the Yankees.
Section 103. That's Lou Marsden versus the Freeze today.
I'd love to see it, Lou. Lou,
there you go.
You waved the white flag at the 4:15.
Like, do you remember? I think it was 3 years ago. The big special was Larry Bear. We have $9 beers. Nobody could find them. It was like 2 sections. You
Yeah,
got to
they hit
do
them.
something
They
different.
hit them, Eric. They hit
Hit
them.
him, and then 415. I don't
They
even
even
know if
turned
that's
it into a game. Fine.
anymore.
It was like searching for an Easter egg. $9 beer. You can find this. The
Sorry, it's
particular
not our
beer
section. Keep looking.
And it's like this big. It's like a shooter worth of beer. That's what it is.
Unbelievable.
What's up, Jake?
But Lou, you talked about going to those other ballparks and how the bleachers are excited. It's because you got to have the product, Lou. At the end of the day, you're paying to go watch excitement, and if it's not there, I mean, they're trying to come up with gimmicks and $5 tickets to get you in the door, not the product.
Yeah.
They're not selling you baseball. They're selling you all the other, hey, come and get a San Francisco Giants, Oakland Seals themed jersey. Well, what does it got to do with baseball?
Nothing. Jake, what's up, Jake? Haven't seen you in the chat before. I did see you in the comments, though. So appreciate you. Welcome to the fraternity we call Giant Sports Talk Live. Why trade for Devers and not try and win now, Greg Johnson? Setting up Posey to fail. And I mean,
true statement. However, I don't think they're done, Eric. I don't
think they're done. And that's what I'm saying. I don't until the offseason is officially closed. Whether it's as Lou said, December 15th.
I'm usually in the same boat as Mr. Salty, Eric.
Hey, who ordered the poo-poo platter?
But I'm on board this year, Eric. I'm on board.
How about that? See,
I have turned over a new leaf. I really have.
But we could come on here some day in December and be like, what the F are the Giants doing? We could absolutely. But until that moment comes, why?
Yeah, the day will come, Eric. They're going to sign a free agent to make a big trade, and the same people who are shitting on them tonight are going to be, oh, we're right back in it. We're going to win. Oh, we're going to change. It has changed to tune. God, about that Buster Posey. I can see it now, Eric.
Look at this.
See it now.
Glenn is Mr. Positivity. This is weird.
Yeah, well,
How about that?
stranger things happened? I don't know.
Hey,
I'm checking out soon. I've got a movie lined up for tonight, Eric.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, I tell you,
the movie about Mo Berg.
Oh, really? Mo Berg.
Have you watched it?
Is there a movie on that? I didn't even know there was a movie.
There's a motion picture. Yeah, a movie about that.
Yeah, that guy was quite the
catcher for the Red Sox, the White Sox, and he could speak 5 languages.
Yeah,
and they sent him over in World War II to assassinate somebody. Oh my God. He was getting secrets.
You know what I've been watching? Oh my God. I don't know if you got Apple TV Plus, whatever. Severance. Holy crap. What a series. I know it's been out there for a while, but we've been watching that, man, live. That is fantastic. That is fantastic.
I spent this morning watching your favorite documentary.
Which one?
I started in 1896.
Oh, baseball. You're watching baseball.
Nice. Yeah, I watched from 1896 to 1921 this morning.
Oh, there you go. Perfect.
The 50th time. 50th, but that was the best part of the whole thing.
Yeah, I'll watch that a little bit later in the off season.
With the Black Sox and I love that stuff.
I'm also watching Franklin. History. Franklin's pretty good too. And of course,
you're watching Franklin? The turtle?
No.
Oh.
Ben Franklin.
Oh.
Franklin.
Okay.
And then I'm also watching the American Revolution, the PBS, the Ken Burns. It's pretty good. It's pretty good stuff. But
Ken Burns, everything he does is sort of amazing when you think about it.
He's pretty damn good, man.
Yeah.
What's the new one he's got coming out, Eric?
That's the one, American Revolution. That's the one he just got done doing.
Is it out yet?
Yeah, it's out.
I'll have to start watching that one. I've only watched the other 2.
It's good.
And I've said it to you
before. By the way,
you don't even have to. It's not like you have to have it scripted. I just turned it on today, and they were at 1896. And then you pick it up from there. It's not a must. Well, you have to start at the beginning, or you can watch it. They break it up into their innings. You pick an inning and watch it. You'll learn something. Every time you watch that show or a documentary, you'll learn something about the history of the game, Eric. I love it.
And Glenn, I thought of you, and I don't know if I bought it up on one of these other shows, especially for the chat, the John Candy documentary.
Oh, right. I heard it's supposed to be pretty
amazing.
Good.
I haven't seen that one either, but
all the guys, people forget Second City, how big of a legend he was, how much he worked when he bought the Toronto Argonauts. Just an amazing documentary because we only see him, as a superstar, but how heavy he was, how he used it to his advantage. how John Belushi died, where he knew, him well, where, he realized he had to do a path, all this stuff. So highly recommend it since we're just throwing a few things out there.
And John Candy was responsible for one of the biggest coups in sport history, Eric. The Heisman Trophy winner did not play in the National Football League.
Ah,
Played in
interesting.
the Canadian Football League as Bruce McNall, and John Candy paid the big multi-million-dollar contract and got Rajib the Rocket Ishmael to play in the Canadian League out of Michigan.
That's right.
Notre Dame.
I meant, Notre Dame.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Notre Dame.
Sorry.
Rocket.
Sorry. Well, I wasn't yesterday, Lou. It was a while ago. And of course, John Candy holds. He should be held in a different standard among sports fans in San Francisco, because quite literally, John Candy helped win them the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The Grey Cup.
With,
yeah.
The Super Bowl with Joe Montana. Joe Montana.
Cincinnati.
They're
Put everybody at ease.
drive,
Hey.
Hey, I like
isn't
it.
that
That's
John
John
Candy?
Candy.
People
I
are like,
said that
"Dude,
to him on the plane.
minute
Lou, you
58
knew that.
left."
Lou, maybe Lou doesn't know. Eric, next show, I'll get the picture out. I showed Eric. So I'm flying from Cleveland at the National Sports Convention last year. I get on the plane. I got the aisle seat. Guess who's sitting in the window? Joe Montana. And it took everything for me not to talk to him the whole freaking way.
Yeah,
and
he's a quiet
there was an
guy.
old lady in between us. She's to this day, she had no clue who he was.
Who he was.
Yeah. And he was doing the whole, he was didn't want to be bothered.
Incognito. He was being
Didn't want to be
incognito.
bothered, and I'm surprised he didn't call the stewardess. Can you just get this guy in? Moved him in the back.
Yeah, it's sort of funny. I've met him probably half a dozen times, either through my ex-wife or we have a mutual friend, and I'll just tell the 15-second version. The U.S. Open was here in 2018 down at Pebble Beach before COVID. And I have a very good friend of mine. They have a house down at Pebble Beach. And she goes, "Hey, your buddy's here, Steve Kerr." And I said, "Oh, great. I'm going to come over. Do you mind?" And we were doing hospitality on the 17th. And she goes, "Hey, why don't you come by the 18th and just come on by?" And I say, "Perfect." So I come by and I see Steve, his wife. "Hey, Steve, how you doing?" "Hey, how you doing? Good to see you again." And he goes, "Oh, we have some friends here." And it was Jennifer and Joe Montana. We're also there. So I'm sitting on a sofa and I'm going, shit, I'm sitting next to Steve Kerr, who to me is a great basketball player, great coach. But then, when you're sitting next to Joe, he was in a sling. Jennifer spoke probably 90% of the time. Jennifer is his wife. They speak, but Joe's just sort of a shy guy.
He really is.
It's funny because during my work, we did a lot of stuff with the late, great Dwight Clark when he was alive, the catch and everything. And he goes, "Yeah, dude, that's just how Joe was, where even Jerry said, Joe, he would speak on volume 6 because he was Joe Cool, as they said. There was never pressure. He was just one of those things, very monotone, all business-like on the field, where everybody else was like, Joe, man, and you bring up the John Candy thing, people still freak out about that because they were 92 yards away and Joe didn't have a worry at all. He says, "Hey, isn't that John Candy? That's pretty cool."
I was pretty young back then.
After.
Isn't he another alum from the same university?
Joe went to Notre Dame. Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe was the golden boy, Notre Dame 4th rounder. And he didn't even start for the Niners for 2 years because we had the great Steve DeBerg.
Well, you know what? Eric? They in the Bay Area and sports, and you gotta love him. Joe Montana. He doesn't like to talk very much. You do. Lou does. I do. You know who else likes to say a little something on the show? Our pal, Ian Robinson.
Giant Sports Talk Live, brought to you by Lefties in Burlingame. Visit Lefties for all of your Giants collecting needs. By GenesisGoldIRA.com, Signatures for Soldiers. Duxwell Printing, for all of your printing needs in the Bay Area. Visit Duxwell Printing at 37 Wentworth Place in San Francisco. And by BetterCreditCards.com, for the best credit card choice for you. Visit BetterCreditCards.com, covering covering the San Francisco Giants nightly, online. We are Giant Sports Talk Live. Now, back to Eric and Glenn.
And if people haven't figured it out, Eric or Lou, I'm sure Lou has. When we do all the promos and special features and and please do support all of our sponsors. You get support them because they support us, right, Eric?
There you go.
And you can always tell which ones spend the more money, right? Duxwell Printing, located at 37 Wentworth Place. Lefties in Burlingame. And Duxwell Printing. And coming soon, we're going to have a featured sponsor, Eric. Oh, I can't wait. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag just yet. Got them all bagged up, ready to let them loose.
Yeah,
and can't wait for that.
That's going to be a good one. Yeah, you guys, especially for those in the Bay Area. Fuji, $1.99. Thanks, sir. Ken Burns needs to make a follow-up on the baseball series. Huh?
His last one, the extra inning, I didn't like it, Eric. I don't know. Yeah. I like the history. I like the black and white. I like those.
I love that
stories.
Part.
The stories that were long before us.
Hey, we missed something.
The one thing is E60, how they have their shows and everything. And I'm surprised nobody's done anything about the Giants, where when we won the city, it was 59 years. The place was nuts. I mean, the frenzy and mission, we had the Niners before, but when the Giants won the World Series and how they did it, that's what I'm surprised. No documentary's been done in this city.
I know.
We have Boston talks about, they had 3 championships the same, we had the Niners. Yeah. But again, San Francisco is not a Niner town. It's a Giants town. You still see a lot of, it's all about the black and orange, the most exciting thing is like when the Niners play, you see jerseys during the season, but year round, you see the Giants colors, the jackets, the knit hats, the jerseys, and that's the one special thing. I mean, look at you. You're wearing your thing. I wore one over this weekend. Hey, dude, what year is that from? It's one of those things. It's like the hat the Giants wear, hey, I remember that, it's just different things. So
it's my Evan Longoria shirt, number 11, Evan Longoria.
And do you remember who we traded?
Money well spent.
I like
Christian Arroyo, right?
So
wasn't it Christian Arroyo?
No,
prospect, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, I thought it was the other guy.
I thought it was Christian Arroyo.
He looked like he was 16, could blow the wind. He was our third baseman, played for the Cubs.
Oh, Matt Duffy? No, it was Christian Arroyo. Christian Arroyo, I think
it was Arroyo, wasn't it?
Hey, yeah, I think it was Arroyo. Pretty sure. If I'm wrong, let me know.
Well, maybe it was Matt Duffy because he ended up in Tampa Bay.
He did.
Yeah, and wasn't with
that's
the
how he
Cubs.
got.
So, yeah, I could be wrong. Just
Eric, what's that show you're going to watch? What's that?
Severance.
Eric's going to go watch Severance. I'm going to watch The Catcher Was a Spy, the Moberg story. Can't wait. And Lou's got to rush in about 12 minutes. The next Hallmark Christmas movie's coming out for Lou. So
before we get out of here.
Got to get out of here.
Before.
Oh, is there one that came in?
It's in there.
Where is it?
It's
is it a
in
two-parter?
There. It's a 2-parter. Which one do you want?
Where? Let me find it. I see it.
It's in the Stard.
Okay. This team may not tread their gilded, lined yellow brick road. Behold Yankees and Mets and Jays. Imai submerged by the prize, yet a submariner may surface in Thai. What is that? Kaji? That was Kojak
Kaiju.
for a minute.
Kaiju.
Take it away, Eric. I knew it.
To bolster the ranks on the hill, arms must be bartered. As the tally endures in the outer west field, the grand capture may be an orthodox marlin, blind cast and lured from the turning reel.
Oh, you got a good one.
Hey, look at that. I like it.
Coin flip. Lou, it's a coin flip. Sometimes you get the good one. I got the... That one put me on the spot tonight. What's a koji? What is it, Eric? Kaiju?
Plurb. What's that?
What is that? What was this? Kaiju.
Kaiju. I think it's kaiju.
You should have taken that. You throw me under the bus. You saw that and said, "No, you take it." I know.
Pluribus. Oh, Pluribus is horrible. I hate Pluribus. I watched the first 2 episodes. It's ass. I hate Pluribus. I didn't like it. All right, let's get the hell out of here. All right, guys, we'll be back here Wednesday night, right? Wednesday night.
Back hump day, Lou, or have you had enough of our shenanigans for 1 week? It's only Monday.
No, I'll probably be back on Wednesday.
Oh, geez.
Right on.
I'm going to do site checks for Super Bowl at Levi's, where we're going to be doing our Super Bowl party, but I'll be back by 8.
Awesome. Right on. All right, thanks, Lou.
Glenn, all week.
We'll see you Wednesday, guys. Woo!
You've been watching Giant Sports Talk Live with Eric and Glenn, a Northern Lights Entertainment Broadcasting production.